Hello students, here in this video let me see a short recap of unit 3 magnetism and the magnetic effect of electric current by knowing the important expressions in this lesson. Okay, let me see the first expression for horizontal component of earth magnetic field. Horizontal component of earth magnetic field. Okay, that is denoted by the expression BH is equal to BE cos I. Okay, then vertical component of earth magnetic field, that is BV is equal to BE sin I. Here BE is a earth total magnetic field. And I is a angle of inclination, that is magnetic inclination. Okay, then using these two relations we can easily find the magnetic inclination value. Here I consider this one as equation 1, this one as equation 2, equation 2 by equation 1. Okay, then we get BV by BH is equal to BE sin I by BE cos I. Okay, BE going to cancel, then sin I by cos I became tan I. Then it can be written as tan I is equal to BV by BH. Using this expression we can find the angle of inclination. Okay, then the resultant magnetic field can be stated as resultant earth magnetic field. That is P or BE, that is equal to root of BH square plus BV square. Okay, then let me see a magnetic dipole moment of a bar magnet. Moment of bar magnet. Okay, that is EC1. It is indicated as PM vector because it is a vector quantity. It starts from south pole and end with the north pole. Okay, then PM vector is equal to QM D vector. We can write in one more form QM 2L vector. Okay, here QM is a pole strength and 2L is a magnetic length. Okay, PM vector is a magnetic dipole moment. Then magnetic dipole moment is a product of pole strength and magnetic length. Okay, then let me see the magnetic field at a point. Magnetic field at a point. Magnetic field is a force experienced by a unit pole in a bar magnet having pole strength QM. Okay, then let me see the magnetic flux. Magnetic flux, that is for area A in, here we consider a uniform magnetic field. Uniform magnetic field. So we can state phi B is equal to B vector dot A vector. Here it is a dot product of two vectors, so flux is a scalar one. Okay, it can be written as phi B is equal to B A cos theta. Here theta is an angle between B vector and A vector. If suppose the flux for a area A in a non-uniform magnetic field, for it is placed in a non-uniform magnetic field, then flux can be written as phi B is equal to integral of B vector dot dA vector. Okay, then the force of attraction or repulsion between the pole piece of the bar magnet, it is stated by Coulomb's inverse square law. Coulomb's inverse square law. in magnetism. Okay, then we can write it is a force of attraction or repulsion that is equal to k qm into qm by r square. Okay, then using this expression we can find the force of attraction or repulsion between the two poles in a bar magnet. Then magnetic field due to a bar magnet in its axial line. Due to bar magnet in its axial line, that is B axial vector is equal to mu naught by 4 pi 2 pm by r cube or pm vector. Okay, here the direction of the magnetic field is in the direction of the magnetic dipole moment. We know magnetic dipole moment direction is from south pole to north pole. Then magnetic field due to a bar magnet in its equatorial line. Equatorial line, that is B equatorial vector is equal to mu naught by 4 pi pm vector by r cube, sorry 2 pm vector by r cube. Here we put minus sign because the net magnetic field at an equatorial line is in the direction opposite to the direction of the magnetic dipole moment. Okay, then let me see the torque experienced by a bar magnet placed in a magnetic field. Torque experienced by a bar magnet in uniform magnetic field. That we know tau is equal to PMB sin theta. If suppose if we write in a vector form, tau vector is equal to PM vector cross B vector. It is a cross product. Okay, then let me see the potential energy stored in a bar magnet that is placed in a magnetic field. Potential energy stored in a bar magnet placed in a magnetic field. That is U is equal to minus PB, that is PMB cos theta. Here the potential energy is minimum when the magnetic dipole or the bar magnet is placed parallel to the field. Parallel to the field. The potential energy is maximum when it is placed anti-parallel to the field. Potential energy is 0 when it is placed perpendicular to the field. Okay, then the next one is tangent law. Tangent law. Okay, using this tangent law we can find the current or the horizontal component of magnetic field using tangent galvanometer. Here the tangent law states B is equal to BH tan theta. If a magnetic needle is suspended at these two crossed field, they are perpendicular to each other. At that instant it will come to rest in the resultant of the two field. Okay, suppose it is a horizontal component of earth magnetic field. It is a magnetic field due to the current carrying circular coil at the center. Okay, then the magnetic needle come to rest in this direction. Then this is the angle theta. Okay, then let me see the magnetic field produced by the circular coil in the tangent galvanometer by applying current, that is B is equal to mu naught Ni by 2R. Okay, this expression we will see little later. Okay, this is a magnetic field produced due to the circular coil carrying current at its center. Okay, then let me see the reduction factor of tangent galvanometer. Reduction factor, that is represented as K is equal to I by tan theta. Okay, you can also state as that is equal to 2r dh by mu naught n. It is the formula for reduction factor. Here let me see the current sensitivity of a charging galvanometer. Sensitivity or current sensitivity is nothing but deflection per unit current. That is represented by the formula 1 by k bracket 1 plus I square by k square. Okay, then we know very well the tangent galvanometer will be most sensitive at a 45 degree. That's why we are considering the reading in between 30 to 60. Okay, then intensity of magnetization. Intensity of magnetization. Okay, here it is represented as m, that is m is equal to pm by v, or m vector is equal to pm vector by v. It is a net dipole moment per unit volume. For a bar magnet, we can consider this one as m is equal to qm by a. Intensity of magnetization for a bar magnet is pole strength per unit area. Okay, then magnetic susceptibility. It is a dimensionless quantity. Chi m is equal to modulus of m vector by modulus of h vector. It is a ratio of intensity of magnetization to the magnetizing field. H is a magnetizing field. Magnetizing field means the field needed to magnetize the specimen. Okay, then the susceptibility for a paramagnetic material. Chi m for paramagnetic material. Paramagnetic material, then chi m is proportional to 1 by T, that is inversely proportional to temperature. If temperature increases, susceptibility decreases, then chi m can be written as C by T. Here C is a Curie constant. Okay, for ferromagnetic material, the susceptibility can be written as chi m is equal to C by T minus Tc. Okay, then let me see Biot-Savart law. Biot-Savart law. We know very well, using this law we can find the magnetic field due to a current carrying conductor. Okay, that is dB is equal to k I dl sin theta by r square. Here dB is a magnetic field due to a current element. Okay, that is placed at a distance of r. At that point the magnetic field is dB. Okay, here I consider a current element. The current element length is dl. Here I is a current flowing this. Then at a distance r, at an angle theta with the current element, at the point P the magnetic field is dB. Okay, suppose if you want to write in a vector form, then dB vector is equal to ideal sin theta by r square into n cap. Here this n cap indicate the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, here this k is a proportionality constant, that is equal to mu naught by 4 pi. Okay, then by using Biot-Savart law we find the magnetic field due to a straight conductor carrying current. Okay, if suppose the conductor is in infinite length, then the magnetic field will be magnetic field due to straight infinite conductor. magnet conductor carrying current. Okay, that is B is equal to mu naught I by 2 pi A. Okay, then magnetic field due to a circular coil carrying current, that also we found using Biot-Savart law. That is B vector is equal to mu naught by 2 pi then R square by R square plus Z square power 3 by 2. Okay, here I consider the magnitude. Okay, here this is the expression used in a tangent galvanometer as B. Here that expression is a magnetic field due to a circular coil carrying current at the center. Okay, for that case Z value became 0. Then modify this, we get B is equal to mu naught I by 2 pi R square by R power cube. Okay, then cancel this, we get mu naught I by 2 pi R. This is the expression we used in a tangent galvanometer, that as B. Okay, magnetic field at the center of the circular coil. Okay, then let we see the next one, magnetic dipole moment of revolving electron. Magnetic dipole moment of revolving electron, that is mu L vector is equal to minus E by 2m L vector. Here L vector is the angular momentum. This shows a relation, that is mu L by L, that is known as E by 2m. It is a gyromagnetic ratio. Here the direction of the dipole moment is in the direction opposite to the angular momentum. Okay, then by using Bohr's postulates, we found the angular momentum of the electron. Angular momentum of the electron, that is revolving in a stationary orbit. Okay, that is we know L is equal to nh by 2 pi. It is one of the Bohr postulates. Okay, then by using Ampere's sector law, we also found the magnitude and the direction of the magnetic field. Okay, because Biot-Savart law is simple, not simple, it is little complex, it uses more mathematics. Okay, so we are preferring Ampere's sector law. Ampere's sector law, this is easy one, closed interval of B vector dot dl vector is equal to mu naught I enclosed. Okay, using this we can find the magnetic field. Okay, here we found the magnetic field due to a straight conductor carrying current. Magnetic field due to a straight conductor carrying current at a distance R, we found B is equal to mu naught I by 2 pi R. This is the expression that is similar to the expression that we found in a magnetic field due to a straight conductor carrying current by Biot-Savart law. Okay, here it is Ampere's sector law. Okay, here by using this Ampere's sector law, we found the magnetic field due to a long current carrying solenoid. Okay, magnetic field due to long current carrying solenoid. That is B is equal to mu naught Ni. Here N is number of turns per unit length. Okay, that is known as turn density. Then our first topic, that is Lorentz force. We know very well, a charged particle is placed in an electric field, it experiences a force. If a charged particle, that is plus Q, is placed in an electric field at rest, it experiences a force, that is Coulomb force. F vector is equal to Q E vector. Okay, but the same charge is placed in a magnetic field. Okay, For that case, it does not experience a force. The force on the charged particle will be 0. If suppose that same charge is moves with the velocity v in a magnetic field, okay, it experiences a force. That force is known as magnetic force. That is equal to F vector is equal to q v vector cross b vector. For this case, the charge moves with 90 degree with the magnetic field. Okay, for that case, it experiences a maximum force. We can write in one more form, F is equal to q v b sin theta. Okay, here this force is directly proportional to magnitude of the charge, then velocity of the charge moves, then magnetic field, and also it directly proportional to angle between the v vector and b vector. Okay, then we can find it was found by Lorentz. Then we see Lorentz force. It is a magnetic force. Okay, magnetic, or we can say it as Lorentz force. Then Lorentz force. Lorentz force is a force experienced by the charged particle when it is moved with the velocity v in electric and magnetic field. Okay, at that time it experiences a force. That force is known as magnetic Lorentz force or Lorentz force. F vector, it is represented as F vector is equal to q e vector plus v vector cross b vector. Okay, then using this Lorentz force, the motion of the charged particle in a magnetic field. Okay, here let me see. If suppose a charged particle is moving in a magnetic field, okay, it experiences a Lorentz force. Here the cross represents magnetic field inverse, the velocity v it moves, then it experiences a Lorentz force. Due to that Lorentz force, it moves upwards. Okay, so it will rotate in a circular path. Okay, then the radius of this circular path, okay, when a charged particle, if suppose it is a positive charge q, it moves with velocity v in this direction, magnetic field is going into the paper. At that case, it rotate in a circular path. Here we can find the radius of the circular path by using the relation r is equal to mv by bq. By knowing this one, we can find the time taken to complete one circle. Okay, that is time period. Time t is equal to 2 pi r by v. Okay, then solving this, we get t is equal to 2 pi m by bq. This is the expression for time period. Then the inverse of time period is known as frequency. That is f is equal to bq by 2 pi m. Here the time period and the frequency does not depends on radius and velocity of the charge moves. Okay, it depends only on this constant one. Okay, then by using this Lorentz force, we can find the speed of the charged particle under crossed electric and magnetic field. Okay, crossed electric and magnetic field, then the speed of the particle, that is v naught, is equal to e by b. Okay, then by using this Lorentz force, we found the force on a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field. Okay, force on a current carrying conductor in magnetic field, that is F vector is equal to b I l sin theta n cap. Okay, here using this expression, we can find the force on the current carrying conductor, that is placed in a magnetic field. Okay, by using that Lorentz force, we found the torque experienced by a current loop placed in a magnetic field. Okay, thing 35, torque experienced by the current loop placed in a magnetic field. Okay, that is tau is equal to nb I a sin theta. Okay, using this relation, we can find the torque experienced by the dipole that is placed in a magnetic field. Then we know one more thing, the force between the two parallel current carrying conductor is force between two parallel current carrying conductor. That is F is equal to mu naught I1 I2 by, that is L, length of the conductor, by 2 pi r. Using this relation we can find the force experienced by the conductor that are placed parallel to the each other, okay, having the current. Suppose here A and B are the conductor, I1 and I2 are the current flowing in these two conductor in the same direction, so it will experience a force like this, so the two conductor will attract each other. Suppose current flows in opposite direction, it will repel each other, okay. Then let me see the current in a moving coil galvanometer. Current in a moving coil galvanometer. That is I is equal to G theta. We know G is equal to K by NAB. Okay. Then let me see the current sensitivity of a galvanometer. 38 current sensitivity. Current sensitivity is a deflection per unit current, that is known as current sensitivity. Okay. That can be written by using this relation as Is is equal to theta by I, we know. Okay. We know theta by I can be written as 1 by G. Then 1 by G can be written as K by NAB. Okay. This current sensitivity can be increased by increasing the, it is written as NAB by K because it is a reciprocal. Okay. Current sensitivity can be increased by increase the number of turns or area of the coil or the magnetic field or kappa. Here kappa is a torsional constant or couple per unit test. Okay. Decrease in the couple per unit test, we can increase the current sensitivity as like voltage sensitivity. That is represented as Vs. Vs is equal to deflection per unit voltage. Okay. We know V is equal to IR. Here I RG. Okay. Then we know theta by I can be written as NAB by kappa RG. Then our next one, 39, shunt resistance value of the ammeter. Shunt resistance. Okay, that is S is equal to, we can write S is equal to Ig by I minus Ig into Rg. Okay, it is the expression to find the shunt resistance. Then for a voltmeter, okay, then here for the ammeter, the effective resistance can be written as Ra is equal to Rg S by Rg plus S. Okay. For voltmeter, the effective resistance is Rv is equal to Rg plus Rh. Here for an ideal ammeter, the resistance of the ammeter will be 0. For ideal voltmeter, the resistance will be infinite. Okay. Using this expression, we can solve our MCQs in our next video. Okay. Thank you.